everyone. I know it's been a while since I've done this video, but Lady Blind Wolf brought this up to me and I thought, gotta cover this. Have y'all seen this American Patriot Bible? Have you ever seen something so un-American in your entire life? Let me explain. So this is one of the pages from the Bible, the Patriots Bible. You can see here it says like "We the People" at the top. It's got Civil War and World War I images and whatnot. So this here is a page that's supposed to prove that the founding fathers used the Bible to create America. So key verses: Genesis 12:2 and 3. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your home great, and you shall be blessing. And you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Key chapters, Genesis 15. This chapter emphasized the specific promise of the Abrahamic covenant, a covenant that is central to all scripture. God promises to 1, to give his people a great land, 2, make them a great nation, and 3, pour out a great blessing over them. So they're trying to say because God had a covenant with Abraham, he was supposed to give his people land, make them a great nation, and pour great blessings over them. Except God didn't do that for the Abrahamic people, did he? How many times was there an Exodus? How many times was there a diaspora of the Jewish people? Quite a few times. So they never really got that great land, did they? And they're not a great nation. We actually had to go in and give Jerusalem to the Jewish people after World War II, carving it out of Palestine. Yeah, that pissed a lot of them off. 3, he'll pour out a great blessing over them. Did he, though? We all remember Hitler from history, right? That's not even one of the worst things that's happened to the Jewish people as a whole. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was really, really fucked up, and it's one of the most modern things that have happened to the Jewish people. But it's not even the fucking worst. So, not only did God lie to the Jewish people, none of this applies to America. We are most certainly not a great land, unless you're talking, size-wise, because, hey, America's fucking huge. We're not a great nation, and we are definitely not blessed. We do not have the number 1 economy. We do not have the number 1 spot in education. We do not have the number 1 spot in infrastructure or anything else. America's okay. Don't get me wrong. There's some shittier places out there. Communism is definitely not the answer to consumerism and capitalism. But we're not the best. In fact, if we looked at some of those countries that are the best, like Finland and Norway and Sweden, those are atheist countries. We've got a lot of jails and criminals and shit here too. They don't have those over there. In fact, they're worried about closing jails too quickly, that they may have released them too soon because their rehabilitation worked that well. Now they have to find homes for them. So, we are not a great nation, and we certainly aren't blessed. And we certainly don't have a great land, unless, of course, you're calling great size. In which case, yeah, America's fucking huge. But, I just don't see this as being the bedrock for America's greatness. I don't see how the founding fathers went to the source. Just because a lot of the founding fathers believed in a God does not mean that God was the Christian God. Y'all know Thomas Jefferson did a lot of fucked up things to his Bible, right? He cut out all the magic woo parts. Have you read the Jefferson Bible? That's a thing. So here's another fine example of one of the pages from the Patriot Bible. This is about the Apollo 8 crew who were told on Christmas Eve as they circled the moon in December 4th, 1968, that they needed to lay down a positive message, do something appropriate for the radio. So William Anders, Jim Lovell, and Frank Borman all read out Genesis. William Anders, we are now approaching lunar sunrise, and for all the people back on Earth, the crew of Apollo 8 have a message that we would like to send to you. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Whoa, 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 whoa. Space is full of water? Those astronauts are up there circling the moon. They just read that space was full of water on the radio. They can see space is not full of water. They disproved the Bible from space. Congratulations, boys. Keep up the good work. But even if the Bible didn't say that space was full of water and they just skipped over that part, what does this have to do with the founding of America? How is this the American Patriot Bible? Because this is something that America did? So what? The moon being in space and space not being full of water contradicts the Bible. Even if these guys were all Christian and they happened to have been spreading their Christian love upon the radio waves in 1968 on December 24th, so what? Lots of people are Christian. That doesn't make God's real. This is just more bullshit that they've included about the Civil War. In November 1861, after a visit to a Union Army camp, Julia Ward Howe wrote the poem that became to be called the Battle Hymn of the Republic. It became the best-known Civil War song of the Union Army, as well as a well-loved American patriotic anthem. So what? Just because some people like it doesn't make God's real. And I get its history and it's kind of cool that you're including this, but you're glossing over slavery. And that's really not okay. Look at this. I'm going to read this to you because it was absolutely just horrific. While the reasons for the Revolutionary War were abundantly clear, the reasons for the Civil War are still being debated. No, they're fucking not. It was about the states' rights. States' rights to own people as farm equipment. That's what the Civil War was about. Slavery. Absolutely horrific that the fucking American's Patriot Bible will not tell the truth. Well, I mean, it is a Bible. What am I saying? But it was not hotly debated. This is very, very clear. Mississippi itself states the reasons for its succession is because they want to own farm equipment that comes in the form of people. Okay? And the North was against the South because they didn't want big farms coming in and threatening the little farm. It had nothing to do with slavery being wrong or out of any sense of moral duty. It was quite literally an economic thing. They didn't want big farm threatening little farm. Big business versus little business. McDonald's versus McDowell's. That's what the Civil War was about. Mississippi itself comes out and says we are seceding because we want to own people as property. It's in their secession letter. But come on, you can't expect Christian nationalists to tell the truth about American history now, can you? There is not one single bit of commentary in this Bible that actually attempts to shed light upon what the biblical text actually means. Instead, it's an appeal to popularity fallacy and a manipulative tactic at that. Let me show you what I mean. Here, Ben Franklin. They're talking about Mark. Ben Franklin, the most famous founding father at our country's birth, was confronted by a disgruntled American that his country had failed to provide him with the happiness it had promised. Franklin is said to have smiled and calmly replied, "The Constitution only gives people the right to pursue happiness. You have to catch it yourself." So, how is this related to the Bible? Where does Ben Franklin says You know, in the Constitution, we wrote about Jesus giving his life so that you can find happiness and be sin-free. That's not at all what Ben Franklin said. He says you have the right to happiness, but you have to go find it yourself. That's it. You have the right to pursue happiness. He doesn't say Jesus gave you the right to pursue happiness. So this is just manipulative to even include this in this theme about Jesus being a servant when you're talking about Mark, okay? It's absolutely weird that you're talking about Jesus coming, suffering, and death at the hands of the Jewish religious leaders and talking about Ben Franklin saying, hey, you can pursue happiness. You have to catch it yourself. It's completely deceitful. Just because there are Americans, famous Americans, who happen to be Christian, that doesn't make Jesus true. You know, there are famous people out there that are atheists. Does that make atheism true? Because that's kind of the argument you're making. I can point to people who are Christian in America, therefore Christian is or America is a Christian nation. It's a little bit of a stupid argument, don't you think? I think so. In fact, it's a logical fallacy called appeal to popularity fallacy. Y'all should look those up. America was not founded upon Christian laws or beliefs, and I can prove it. Let's look at these 10 commandments. Number 1, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Show me the American law on the books that says that we cannot worship any other God but the Christian God. I'll wait. I won't hold my breath because I'll die, but I'll wait. Show me that law that our God is the Christian God. Number 2, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Well, don't we do that all the time? Aren't pastors accusing us all the time of worshiping idolatrous things like money or false gods or whatever, Satan? Show me the law that says that we can't make graven images. Hell, there are Christians who do this themselves. Y'all remember the statue that was crying the leaky, dirty sewage water and people were drinking it and getting sick because it was fucking sewage water from a pipe that had cracked? Christians do this all the time. Show me the law that says it's illegal. Oh, you can't because it doesn't exist. Number 3, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Fuck. Try and stop me, goddammit. There is no law that says you can't do this. Number 4, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. How many of you assholes have ever worked on the Sabbath? When is the Sabbath, by the way? Because according to the Muslims, and I know you don't trust that source, it's Friday. But according to the Jewish original source, it was the evening and the morning, so Saturday night. According to the Christian people, it's Sunday. So which is it? Is it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? How many of us have ever worked Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? I know I have. I do it all the time. In fact, I work Friday and Sunday this week. Actually, I've got Saturday off. I guess I'm the only one who's keeping the Sabbath holy over here. Yeah, there is you can't work the Sabbath law in America. Okay? Number 5, honor thy father and thy mother. Fucking make me. Number 6, thou shalt not kill. Oh my God, we finally got one. Thou shalt not kill. Well, yeah. But that seems to be a little bit more of a societal law, doesn't it? In fact, a lot of societies have come up with this law independent of Christianity. A lot of Eastern organizations. Hell, the Egyptians had this law about thou shalt not kill. You know what's funny, though? You know what I find really funny about this thou shalt not kill thing? America's way more strict about it than the Bible is. And how do I know that? Well, because I've read Leviticus 26, verse 7 and 8. Hunt down your enemies, kill them with your swords. 5 will chase 100, 100 will chase 10,000. Kill your enemies with your swords. So, it's not really thou shalt not kill. The original text is about not killing your fellow Hebrew. You were free to go out and rape, murder, and enslave all the people from the nations around you. In fact, that's one of the things that the Jewish people kept getting in trouble for. They were picking fights with everyone, and everyone else had the bigger stick. So, thou shalt not kill really should say, thou shalt not kill thy fellow Jew. And America has more strict laws about that because America's not about thou shalt not kill thy fellow American. America's about thou shalt not kill, period. Unless, of course, self-defense. You threaten my life, I'm gonna take yours. Number 7. Thou shalt not commit adultery. You know, there are a few adultery laws on the books. None of them are really enforced at all. In fact, I remember I grew up in this really tiny town, and there are laws in the books about wells and where the library was. Like, that downtown street that's super busy was actually legally still a cattle drive, and you had to take 2 or more cows to be considered a cattle drive down that street. But you could drive them down the street legally in the middle of downtown with all those cars and pissing everybody off. But you could legally do it. So yeah, there are laws on the books about adultery. Nobody follows them. 8. Thou shalt not steal. Oh my goodness, we got another one. 2 out of 10 so far. That's actually good. Well, 2.5 if you count 7. Well, I guess we could only count 6 as a half as well because they only meant a little bit of not killing. So we've got 2. Thou shalt not steal. Again, this is more of a societal law. I mean, the Egyptians came up with this long before Moses supposedly ever wrote the Bible. Not that Moses was ever real either. But before this was all written down, there were other people who came up with these laws. So, thou shalt not steal, definitely not a Christian thing. And not, at least not exclusive to Christianity. 9. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Lying is completely legal, except in a court of law. Police can legally lie to you. And that is Fraser v. Cupp, C-U-P-P. Wow. I just realized what I said. 394 U.S. 731 took place in 1969. That's when it was passed. Yeah. So, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. This really only applies to a court of law. You can legally lie to whomever you want. 10. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Huh. That seems rather un-American, isn't it? Isn't keeping up with the Joneses, as Aaron Robb puts it, the cornerstone of American capitalism? Pretty sure it is. So we've got 2, maybe arguably 3, that are pretty good and apply to society. But the really important ones, you know, number 1, number 2, number 3, none of those things really have anything to do with America or Christendom or anything else. In fact, if you want to get into the 613 laws that are found in Leviticus, we're going to have to talk about slavery and how it's biblical to own people as property. And how it's un-American to own people as property. Clearly the founding fathers were not going, yeah, Christendom, when they created the nation. In fact, America was quite unique in the fact that it was secular. They had done something that no other nation had ever done before. They were secular. They were not a theocracy. And it's really quite amazing how many Christian nationalists don't know this. You know, you sit there and spout off about history you've never read. You sit there and spout off verses in a book you've never read. You know, the Bible. But that's really what it is, isn't it? Stupid, loud people. Ignorant, stupid, loud people. Repeating things they've been told that are not found in the book. And I covered this a little bit with that stoner preacher, because he told me he'd never read the Bible. I'm like, well, how do you know what's in it then? Well, I was told. Yeah, but do you know if it's really in there? Do you know that that's what it actually says? Because I've actually read the Bible. I've read American history books, and I've read The Founding Myth, which is definitely a book you guys should pick up. This here, The Founding Myth, Why Christian Nationalism is Un-American by Andrew L. Siddell, is wonderful. It's like $15 on Amazon. If you want to check it out, if you're actually interested in American history and why saying America was founded on a Christian nation is un-American, check it out. Really great book. Okay, that's enough ranting and raving out of me. I've been screaming at my phone long enough. I hope you have found this enlightening as to why the American Patriot Bible is stupid. But so is Christian nationalism. That's it for tonight, guys. Bye-bye.